Question. Do you know what test anxiety is? Well, let me tell you. So, test anxiety is just what it sounds like. You get very anxious, nervous, hard to remember things when you're taking a test. Now, before the test, you studied, you could talk about it, you know your information. Leading up to the test, you can talk about it, know the information. You might even be able to tutor someone else on the same information. But when it comes time for you to take that test, the information is gone. You thought you knew the information. You thought you were putting the right answers. At the end of the day, you get the test back. Ugh. You did not do as well as you thought you should have. Why? Because you were stressed out. And what tends to happen when you experience test anxiety is the fact that you start to worry about what can happen if you don't do well. And that can snowball into so many different problems. And so that can lead to you feeling like you're lost. You can feel overwhelmed, disappointed, confused, because if they're going over the answers, you know the answers without even looking at your answer. And then you look down and you're like, why did I put that? That's clearly not the answer. And so what you can do about that is this. You can work on caring just a little bit less about the stress. And if you're like, well, what are you talking about? Well, let me be honest with you. True story on my part. So, all through school, elementary through high school, taking tests were easy for me. I can fall asleep in the middle of the class, wake up, and read whatever paragraph I was supposed to read if the teacher called on me. Yeah, I was one of those people. And so it was simple. You study, take the test, boom, bam, you're good. Well, when I got to undergrad, it was a different story. I actually helped other people pass the test that I couldn't pass. Now, where they do that at? I was confused. I was just like, how in the entire world am I tutoring people in something that I can't pass? And I knew the work before the test, like before I got to school. I knew the work sitting in my desk before I took the test. Took the test. I don't even know. And so then I would get it back and I'd be like, this is not, why did I do that? And I noticed that this could not continue because if I continue to think the worst, I'm not passing this class. And so I went to my advisor and he talked to me and was like, well, do you think you might have test anxiety? I was like, test anxiety? What is that? I don't get test anxiety. Come to find out, yes. You see, I knew the work, but I also would think I have to pass this quiz. If I don't pass this quiz, I'm going to fail it. And if I don't pass the next quiz, what's going to happen on the test? So if I keep failing the quizzes, I fail the test. And if I don't pass that test, I fail the next test. And if I don't make it to midterm, then, oh my gosh, then I keep going. And if I fail the class, then I'm going to drop out of school. And then if I drop out of school, it was just snowballing until I imagined myself standing on the corner with a sign saying, we'll work for food. How do I get failing a quiz is going to put me homeless with no resources, begging for help? That's test anxiety. And so when I talked to my advisor, they were like, okay, now you don't want to switch majors. I'm like, no, I'm not going to switch majors. I'm going to keep my major. They're like, well, you got to learn how to get a handle on this. And this might work for you. I'll tell you what worked for me. And that is the fact that I cared less, just a smidge. I'm not telling you to throw it all out the window, because for a lot of us, we were out here told, you better get your grades right or you're not going to have a happy life. And so what I'm saying is, let's ease off of you're going to be stranded with no resources and you just not going to know which way is up and where to turn, because that's not true. There are resources out here. There are people out here that are ready and willing and able to help you. So throw that out. And you start challenging yourself and saying, you know what? I might fail that quiz, but you know what? That's not the only quiz. I might fail that test. You know what? That's not the only test. Oh, they offer extra credit. Let me make sure I do that extra credit to cushion in case I slip up and fall. You know what? If I don't know this information, let me tap into my resources. If I got people in the class that I feel comfortable talking to, let me talk to them, see how they're doing, and if they can teach me, or if we can create our own study group and we can learn together. Also, do they have a tutoring center at your school? When do I need to go there and say, hey, I need some help? Thank you. Also, you have YouTube, Google. You have other people that you know that could also help you understand the information that you're having trouble not only understanding, but remembering, retaining the information. And so when you start to spread that out and realize that everything is not depending on this one quiz, this one test, this one class, this one semester, this one year, everything is not dependent on that. And so take your breath, step back, go, you know what? Whew, let me come back. I went too far. Let me get back. And when you're able to do that, that can help you to release that stress. Know that you're not alone. Tap into those resources. Guess what? You increase your chances of passing that class. And not only passing that class, passing that semester, passing that year, and reaching your goals, whether that's graduating or doing other things. So at the end of the day, breathe. Just breathe and go. I'm not alone. I have support. If you're like, I don't have support, let's find some. Like I said, YouTube, Google, tutoring center if your school has one, talking to other people, find that support, tap into that. And anytime you start to think, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, no. I'm not dumb because I'm here. I'm in a class with all of these people. We're not dumb. Nothing's wrong with me. And if you're like, well, I have a learning disability, okay, you need a different type of help. You're still here with the rest of us. So guess what? You can do it too. So remember, you can do this. Take your breath, tap into your resources. And as always, take care.
Hi, a licensed professional counselor here. I'm Kenya. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow for more information. Take care.